my goodness. Have you ever seen a giant piece of wood like this before? Honestly, it looks like part of an ancient tree trunk straight out of a jungle movie about the Amazon rainforest. Standing next to it, the man looks like a tiny sculptor in a world of giants. I can't even imagine what he's going to do with it. Maybe we're about to witness something magical, or he might just turn it into a massive dining table big enough for the whole family's Christmas dinner. Oh, and now the man is checking the design on his iPad. This is the age of technology, after all. Wood sculptors today don't need paper sketches anymore. You know, the way he moves his finger across the screen reminds me of how I scroll through the menu on my phone when ordering food for delivery. This design must be incredibly detailed and creative. Maybe he'll transform that giant piece of wood into some mythical creature from a legend, or who knows, maybe just a cute little dog. We'll just have to wait and see. And the action has begun. The man holds the massive chainsaw like a warrior brandishing a sword going into battle. The vroom vroom sound of the saw fills the air, and small pieces of wood start falling away. How impressive. Do you see that? Every move of the saw is like the precise strokes of an artist's brush. In fact, the chainsaw is truly a tool of artistry in this man's hands. Now imagine if I were holding that saw. Rather than creating art, I'd probably make a huge mess of wood chips, like when kids spill a whole batch of cookies. And the action has begun. The man holds the massive chainsaw like a warrior brandishing a sword going into battle. The vroom vroom sound of the saw fills the air, and small pieces of wood start falling away. How impressive. Do you see that? Every move of the saw is like the precise strokes of an artist's brush. In fact, the chainsaw is truly a tool of artistry in this man's hands. Now imagine if I were holding that saw. Rather than creating art, I'd probably make a huge mess of wood chips, like when kids spill a whole batch of cookies. And he's decided to fix it. The man pulls out a tube of glue like a surgeon preparing for an emergency operation. Glue is his trusty companion, and watching him carefully apply it to the crack, I can't help but compare it to how I'd fix my old wobbly wooden chair. But, of course, instead of a rickety chair, this man is repairing a future work of art. He seems confident that everything will turn out just fine. Now, the man picks up the chainsaw, checking it carefully like a pilot inspecting an airplane before takeoff. You know, the way he's doing this shows that he's not just a talented artist, but also highly professional. He definitely doesn't want the saw to malfunction halfway through. Kind of like when you're watching a movie and the Wi-Fi suddenly drops. Let's hope the chainsaw keeps humming along as powerfully as it did at the start. This scene is beautiful, isn't it? The man is walking through the white snow, looking like a treasure hunter in the frozen wilderness. But instead of searching for gold and jewels, he's on the hunt for the perfect tree. The way he carefully examines each tree trunk, taking his time, reminds me of how I pick out tomatoes at the market. They have to be flawless, ripe, and without a single bruise. But instead of tomatoes, the man is choosing wood, the main ingredient for his next masterpiece. And now, watch as the man shows off his superhuman strength. He's carrying a massive log as if it were a light suitcase slung over his shoulder. Unbelievable. If I tried to carry that, I'd probably throw my back out after 2 steps. But for him, it seems like just another ordinary day. He's bringing that heavy log into the workshop like it's the easiest task in the world. Is he a wood artist or a superhero? Now the real artistry begins. The man is carving a dog from that massive block of wood. The way each stroke of the saw creates precise lines reminds me of a professional chef carving a watermelon into a work of art. But instead of a watermelon, he's carving wood, and this wooden dog is gradually taking shape, with intricate details from the ears to the tail. This dog is sure to be a masterpiece. Not only is he using a saw, but the man is also hammering down on the wood like a boxer delivering a knockout punch to his opponent. Each strike brings him closer to completing his masterpiece. Do you see how the wood splits perfectly under his hammer? If it were me, I'd probably miss the mark and hit my finger after a few swings. But not this man. Everything he does is powerful and flawless. The man continues his wood carving with intense focus. Each line he creates is as precise and careful as an artist painting on a canvas. You know, this carving process is really like building a 3D painting. Little by little, the wooden dog is taking shape right before our eyes. And now we move on to the bigger challenge, carving the head of a deer. This is definitely the hardest part, like assembling a complex model with hundreds of tiny pieces. But the man never backs down from a challenge. The chainsaw in his hand is like a painter's brush, and the deer's head is gradually coming to life with each skillful stroke. The man is now using a drill to make holes in the wood, preparing for the pieces to connect. Wow, if you didn't know better, you might think he's fixing a motorcycle instead of creating a masterpiece. But no, everything he's doing is to bring his artwork closer to completion. Finally, after much effort, the deer's head is in the right position. Do you see the man smiling with relief? I'm sure he's thinking, that's it, the hardest part is over. But in reality, this is just one step in a long and challenging process. The man continues to inspect every detail, carefully painting each of his works, from the dog to the deer to the owl. Each color is chosen with care, and every stroke is meticulously crafted. After a long, tiring day, he lights a fire to warm himself. It's a precious moment of rest, after a day full of relentless creativity. And as the man gets into his truck and leaves the workshop, he leaves behind those beautiful creations, each one a part of him, filled with heart and passion.